welcome everyone to our second episode of Fighting Irish Foodies this month. Coming here from beautiful Foley's in O'Neill Hall at Notre Dame Stadium during spring break. Fighting Irish Foodies is a show we created a couple of years ago during COVID to feature Notre Dame's outstanding chefs and their favorite recipes. During this next hour, it's all about having some fun, learning a thing or two about cooking a new dish, and not laughing too much at how pathetic I am in the kitchen. But before we get started, let me share a few updates from campus. Campus is beautiful right now. It's quiet. Students are away for their spring break, and I'm sure that they're pretty happy about it because winter is still hanging on around here, even though just later this week it'll be springtime. It's been snowing on and off over the last 5 days or so, and this weekend we're supposed to get below freezing temperatures once again. Tomorrow at 6:42 p.m., our regular decision letters will be emailed to all applicants, more than 28,500 for Notre Dame's class of 2027. To be very frank, it's the most difficult week of the year around here because only about 11% of this year's applicant pool will be admitted to Notre Dame. So while the demand is high for Notre Dame education, it's very, very difficult when decision day comes around. Our 10th Notre Dame Day is just 41 days away. Our annual global celebration of all things Notre Dame begins, and mark this on your calendar, Tuesday, April 25th at 6:42 Eastern Standard Time, and ends on Wednesday, April 26th at midnight. Definitely tune in. The Saturday after Notre Dame Day, April 29th, we're going to be rallying the entire Notre Dame family around a global day of service, something brand new. You're going to be hearing a lot more about that from our Alumni Association in the near future. So let's get rolling. Today, I am thrilled to introduce Notre Dame's Senior Executive Chef for Campus Dining, Greg Larson. Greg, welcome to Fighting Irish Foodies.
Thanks for having me, Lou.
So tell us a little bit about what dish you're going to be preparing today. And for those cooking along with us, what are the ingredients and some of the kitchen tools that they're going to need?
Sure. So this year, St. Patrick's Day happens to fall on a Friday.
Yeah.
Normally, we're pulling out the corned beef and cabbage or the Irish stew. This year, we're going to do the Fighting Irish fish and chips for the Lenten Friday. So today, we're going to start with our potatoes. So these are Kennebec potatoes. So this is a white potato. This is a wonderful potato for French fries. It's going to remain really crispy on the outside, as well as nice and creamy on the inside. If you don't have this potato, you could just use any russet potatoes from your supermarket. Okay. I'm talking about the batter ingredients. Today, we just have some all-purpose flour. If you do have a gluten intolerance, you could use rice flour as a sub. It'll be a little bit different batter, but that way you could still enjoy it, as well as some cornstarch. Okay, a couple bowls of cornstarch, a leavening agent, baking powder, a little bit of a beaten egg, and some salt for seasoning. When we're done with our fish frying, we have some malt vinegar powder that we're going to dust with it. And then the most important part of our batter is the beer. So this is a farmhouse ale from Wisconsin called Spotted Cow. You could use pretty much any beer that you'd like to use. I suggest you use a beer you like to drink because it will come through at the end. And I personally don't like stouts. If I'm going to drink a stout with my fish and chips, it's usually in a pint glass on the side. But this is a delicious beer. I'm lucky to have it today.
It's okay to sip the beer while we're
Absolutely.
Okay,
I recommend it. You got to know what it tastes like.
Okay, good.
Right.
All right, great.
And then here's some Atlantic cod. This is a beautiful fresh fish that we got here at a local supermarket. I do recommend going fresh if you could find it. Frozen fish is fine and acceptable. I would recommend putting it on towels and really trying to dry it out before you fry it so the batter really adheres to it.
Got it.
And if you can't find cod, haddock, halibut, even pollock are other good choices to use.
Great. Fantastic.
Right.
So
so the hardest thing is the deep fryer, right? I don't really enjoy deep frying in my home, but I do make some exceptions. This is one for me. So this would be your traditional setup for your house. I simply have a burner here with a pot and then a candy thermometer. And so we use the candy thermometer to be able to make sure that we can tell how hot our oil is. On your station,
could you just fry it in a pan?
You could
Like a
fry it in a
frying pan
pan.
or not?
So we are going to be doing two techniques
Okay.
today. So we're going to be doing something called hot oil blanching,
Okay.
and as well as the hot frying of the chips and the fish at a higher temperature. You could do it in a shallow pan, but it is a little bit trickier to get the fish fully coated and tends to stick to the pan.
So
you
it's
really
better
want to be
use
able
a
to
deeper
submerge
pan.
it.
Okay,
Yep.
got it. Got
Yep.
it. Okay, great. I got a bunch of questions for you. Tell us how
Awesome.
we get started. Get us started, and then I want to ask you a little bit about your responsibilities.
Okay, first thing we're going to do is cut the potatoes.
Okay.
And the reason why is because we're going to want to cut the potatoes and then soak them in water.
Okay.
What this does is it rinses the starch off the outside of the potato, allowing that initial blanch to put a skin, if you will, on the outside of the potato, allowing it to stay extra crispy.
Okay, good.
Okay, so we have a chef knife here today, as well as, I forgot to mention this, but we have a whip and a pair of tongs. So really simple stuff to be able to pull this off. So we're going to take our cutting board here.
Do you have like a favorite knife? Like I see these are Dexters.
Yeah. So I like Japanese knives, Damascus steel knives. They stay sharp. They're wonderful. They're very, very expensive.
Yeah.
Commercial kitchens, we do use cheaper knives just because they fall on the floor. People cut things on cutting boards and stuff and do silly things. Every chef's knife kit that they treasure and have somewhere has tie-in Japanese or German knives in it. So
got it. Interesting. Okay.
all right. So the first thing we're going to do, because the potato is round and we want to be safe, we're going to take off a small piece on the end, just like that, straight up and down.
This is the scariest part for me is I'm going to lose a digit in one of these shows.
Take it easy.
So this is a good way to go. Okay.
And we're going to be looking to cut the potatoes. I like them thicker for fish and chips, so I like about a ½ inch. I do a little bit smaller if I was making French fries for a hamburger. So,
okay.
And so then all we're going to do next is just take a little bit off this side, and all we're doing is trying to make squares. And it's up to you how you want to cut it, obviously, but I do like it a little bit bigger. The next cut, just like that. So start with the knife, go down, nice and easy. Okay. Now hopefully you have something that looks like this. Okay, and then now we have another flat edge, so the potato's not rolling around.
Okay, you do flat edge on the other one?
Yep.
Okay.
And then we just cut them into sticks. And I don't like to peel them for this. I do like the flavor of the skin. It adds a little bit of nutrients too, even though they're French fries. And now we're just going to cut them into sticks.
So tell me about overseeing all campus dining. What does that include?
So that includes oversight of both dining halls, as well as some influence over St. Mary's, Holy Cross College, our self-branded retail outlets. And then I'm an educator. I try to make sure that our chefs are pursuing certifications or further education, bringing people together, trying to create a culinary culture on campus that really reflects on what we do for the students.
Fantastic.
Really
so how many meals do you serve a year?
2.2 million meals, at the dining hall. So quite a bit of meals.
And how many meals a day would that come down to about?
So at North Dining Hall, around 5,000 meals, and at South slightly less. Ever since North's been renovated, South has dropped a little bit, but
there are plans soon, right, for major renovations to South Dining Hall.
We're excited about it. Yeah, and it's just going to flip right back the other way.
And you think so?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so do you have a buy? I mean, this is a big hot debate, right, among Notre Dame people. What's better, North or South Dining Hall? And passions run high on this. Where's your bias?
Yeah, tough question. So I have spent a large portion of my career with Notre Dame. I've been here 19 years at North Dining Hall. So everyone's like family. However, in my new role, which I actually took last March, so about a year now, I really get to know South Dining Hall, and I did have some opportunities to work there before. Really, I just have the bias because I've had the history of North, but it's great to bring them together. It's great to learn from everybody and to understand what they could bring to the table and recipes that they create and things like that. So
it's like picking a favorite child for you now, since you oversee the both.
Yeah, don't ask me that question.
I was a Soren Hall guy, so right, kind of equidistant. You could go to North or you could go to South where we were, and I always went to South. I love the old
beautiful building,
collegiate Gothic building and everything else. So okay, great.
Great.
So we put the potatoes in there.
Okay, and so then what we're going to do now is simply So pretend that we're soaking this in water for a couple of hours.
Okay.
Now underneath your station here, Lou, you do have potatoes that are already soaked. So that was a couple of hours of soaking. That's
Got
all.
it.
All right. And now what we're going to do is do something called hot oil blanching. Okay. So this is the par cooking of the potatoes. We're not looking for them to be crispy. We're not looking for them to be golden brown or anything. What we're doing is we're setting the starches on the outside of the potato,
Okay.
letting them rest, and then we're going to fry them at a hotter temperature to get that really, really crispy outside and that mashed potato type inside.
Okay.
Okay. So if you want to just take your potatoes and drop them in one of your fryer baskets and drop them right into the oil, and your oil is set at 320 degrees,
Okay.
the oil temperature will drop.
So just pull it up like this and just set it down.
So I do recommend at about 325, 320 degrees.
Wow.
Yep. And that's going to take about 5 minutes.
I've heard before, like if you go to a McDonald's or something, the French fries are limp. It's because they haven't changed the oil.
Yeah.
Is that accurate? You're using kind of dirty oil a little bit?
Yeah. Not only does it become challenging to cook the products, but also it imparts a real bitter flavor. So yeah, it's important to have fresh oil. Now we can strain this. This is a lot of oil for someone to use at home.
Yeah.
I suggest putting this through a coffee filter. It takes out all the little things that are in it. You can use it to cook other things. If you fry fish in it, it will have a little bit of a fishy flavor,
Okay.
but at least you get to save your oil and not just discarding a gallon of oil.
Okay.
All right. All right. So while this is frying, the next thing we're going to do is season our fish with a little bit of salt and pepper.
Okay.
The reason why we're going to do that now before we make the batter is I want the salt to start to, pull out some of the moisture on the fish and start to seep into the fish. So this is a little salt here.
The salt here. Okay. Pinch.
Yeah, a little pinch. I'm a little heavy-handed on the salt, but
yeah.
A little pepper. A little less on the pepper.
A little less on the pepper. Okay. Put it right here. So, where I grew up in Western New York, every Friday throughout the entire year, people went out for fish fries. I mean, it was a typical thing, cod fish fries, but we don't do that in South Bend in the same way. There's a few places that do it. I think that's true around much of the country. So this is a really, really popular dish. Would that be accurate?
Yeah. It's usually during Lenten time, that we see that in a lot of local parishes, fundraisers for the schools. But yeah, it's not, it needs to be. It's a tradition that might have died a little bit, but needs to come back.
Okay.
All right. So we have our fish seasoned. Now we're just going to let that sit to the side here.
So you put seasoning on both sides?
Yes.
Okay.
And I always tell people we should always season both sides of the fish if you're going to serve both sides of the fish. So always season both sides is the rule.
The same thing if you're cooking meat or anything?
Yeah, steaks, yeah.
Anything, okay.
Really anything. You really want to season the entirety of the fish so you don't have pockets of seasoning and then a little bit of bland. Especially cod is a very flaky fish. So when we're going to eat it, you're going to have bits and pieces that might not have been seasoned if we didn't season both sides.
Got it. Okay.
All right. Next thing we do, our fries are still working here. We're just going to, if you want to just give your fryer basket a little shake. Okay. And if you notice, they're starting to get a little bit of a skin on the outside. I don't know if you could see that.
Yeah, they definitely
but they're not getting any color. So what it is it's similar to blanching and shocking vegetables. We're blanching the potatoes simply in hot oil.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Now, while that's working, the next thing we do is prepare our batter.
Fantastic. This is a pretty simple dish, isn't it?
It is simple. Like I said, it's cumbersome to fry things in your home.
Yeah.
But outside of that, it's a very easy, quick dish that you could whip up and make a nice Lenten treat for your family.
Okay, great.
Yep. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is add the cornstarch, and you have 2 bowls on your top there.
Yep. Both of them?
I couldn't get it all in one. So
What does cornstarch do for you?
So this will allow the batter to remain crispier. It will provide a barrier of when the fish starts to rest, because we are going to be cooking it to about 135, 140 degrees. The moisture inside the fish will start to come out. And instead of breaking that barrier with the flour, it'll keep it inside that and remain moist on the outside while crispy. Crispy on the outside. And then we have our leavening agent, which is baking powder.
What other leavening agents are out there other than baking powder?
So, you could do things like yeast, baking soda. There's Those are really the big two.
The big two, okay.
You know, we're going to add a little beer, which has a little bit of carbonation to it.
Okay.
But soda water would be able to add a little bit of lightness to it as well.
Okay.
We're adding the salt next. And then we're going to pour the egg in. And if you have an egg allergy, you could actually skip the egg. It will help bind it a little bit for us. Yep, just a little bit of a yolk. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, a little bit of richness for us. And then we're just going to kind of mix that together. Okay. Do your best not to splash it all over the place.
I just did.
And then comes the fun part, which is the spotted cow.
Ooh, yeah. I'm excited about the spotted cow. Okay.
And then, so we'll need about half this beer.
Beautiful.
So I don't know what we're going to do with the other half, but we'll
I got an idea.
And so we're just going to pour that in. You'll see a little bit of bubbling. And we eye it. You could scale this out too, but when you're cooking, usually at home, you know, just have fun with it and enjoy it.
This is a good beer. I've never had this beer before.
Yeah, only in Wisconsin.
Only in Wisconsin, that is, huh?
Yeah. It's a really nice story too.
Wisconsin has enough beers up there.
I love Wisconsin. Great state.
It is. I think Milwaukee has the most bars per capita of any city in the world, I think,
Yes.
right?
I wouldn't argue that at all.
Yeah.
Fun town.
So tell us a little bit about, you know, your challenge when you're cooking a dish. You're cooking it for thousands of people. So we're making something right now for like a family. Is it hard to scale these dishes?
Yeah, sometimes almost impossible. However, we have a group of chefs that really are motivated to try to figure it out. Sometimes we nail it. Sometimes we struggle with it. But this is actually a dish we do on Lenten Fridays in the dining halls.
We do.
We hand batter cod, and we serve it in baskets with newspaper and things like that. So,
okay.
So it is a dish we figured out how to do in mass scale.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, now we're going to check our fries here, and what you're looking for is the fries to be soft. So I'm touching it. I don't recommend that because it's hot, but I have chef hands. But once you see that the fry just kind of breaks evenly, it's cooked enough because it will remain. So if you want to just hang your basket up there.
Hang it up. Okay, you think it's cooked enough?
Yep, those are cooked enough for now. And then if you want to crank your temperature of your fryer all the way, so that knob on the top, just turn it all the way to clockwise.
Off or on?
On.
Off.
All the way, the other way.
Like off, right?
No, all the way on.
All the way on.
Yep.
Okay.
There you go. 375.
Got it. Okay. 375.
Okay. So now we're going to bring the temperature back up because we're going to fry the fish at a hotter oil, and then we're going to get that color, those brown color on the potatoes at a hotter oil.
Okay, great.
Yep. And for me at home, all I'm going to do is just take this out. He has a fryer basket, so I'm just going to use like a slotted spoon or a spider or something like that to get the fries out.
So tell us a little bit about your family. Greg, you have a couple kids?
Yep, couple kids. So originally from Chicago area. My wife's originally from Mexico. We met in doing construction in south side of Chicago.
Wow.
I came to South Bend, Indiana to take an apprenticeship at the University of Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Been here 19 years. So
fantastic. So do you speak a little Spanish? Or
yeah,
not?
a little bit. Yeah.
A little bit.
I understand a lot of Spanish.
Bastante para defenderte. Right? Enough to defend yourself.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
And so tell me, do you cook some Mexican dishes? Have you learned?
Yes. So I spent about 6 months in Mexico. Where my wife's from is the state of Sonora.
Okay.
So it's a little bit different. She makes flour tortillas, which mostly corn tortillas in Mexico.
Right.
So that's one of my the foods that I crave the most. So when she makes them, she made them the other day, so I got spoiled.
And how did you get into cooking? How did that come about?
Yeah, it's a great question. I don't have any of these stories like some chefs say, like my grandma took me to restaurants or I came from a restaurant. We came from, my mom was a school teacher. My dad was in heating and air conditioning.
Yeah.
And I kind of was following in his footsteps. And I just always loved cooking. I just knew this is what I wanted to do. So
they both were working parents.
Yes.
Did that force you to start to cook more?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. My mom, she actually went to college later in life.
Yeah.
So we were like from about 7th, 8th grade on, we were kind of, our own dinners. So yeah, I started cooking, started off with like ramen noodles and worked my way up to like chicken piccata and things like that. One of the first dishes that I made.
I want you to know that I'm still at ramen noodle stage.
Yeah.
I want you to know there's
nothing wrong with the ramen noodles.
Okay, great. Good.
All right. So next thing that we're going to do is allow our oil to get hot. But during that time, we're going to, if you want to grab a pair of gloves, I put down here on your station.
Okay. I
This is really the only part of the time that I recommend wearing gloves. Obviously, you don't have to wear gloves if you're at home. Just wash your hands because we'll be touching the raw fish. And what we're going to do is take a little bit of flour and dust the fish with the flour. It's called a pre-dredge. What this allows the fish to do is hold the batter when we put it in the fryer. If we were just to dip this right in the batter and put it in the fryer, you would have a reaction where the fish would, or the batter would start to come off the fish. We want that to really adhere to the fish as tight as possible. So just grab all your flours right here and just give it a nice liberal sprinkling. And then flip it on both sides. Try to get the. You could use a bowl and dredge it in there as well, but this works for us.
So what are your favorite dishes to cook at home?
You know, I do cook a lot of pizza at home. I have a kind of a pizza snob. So I'm obsessed with getting that right dough, Neapolitan style pizzas, working with different hydration methods. That's kind of where I'm at now. I really like cooking Mexican food. I also, one of my little hobbies is to nixtamalize corn and make like masa to make tortillas and things like that. So I'm learning that. So that's a little tricky, but I'm in my trial and error stage now on that.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah.
So, where are your favorite places to eat around town?
You know, I don't go out to eat a lot. If I did go out to eat, I do like Crooked U. I like a lot. I like Evil Check a lot. I like Venturi Pizza and Goshen a lot.
Yeah,
I've ever had a chance to be there.
I've been there before. It's great.
All right. So next thing we're going to do is just look at our fish here.
Okay.
And we're going to start the batter process on that.
So we bring this. We don't dip the fish in the batter. We put the batter on top of the fish.
No, we're going to dip it. Yep.
Oh, we're going to dip it.
So we'll just get set up like this, and you're left-handed, right? So, okay. So then we'll just use tongs for this.
Okay.
And then if you want to just drop it right in, and then let it go. And then if you want to drop down one of your fryer baskets so we can have room for it. Okay. And then now we're just going to carry the fish just like this with the tongs. Just try to get full coverage on that. Pick it up and let some of that batter run off, but you really want.
Do I want to, like, if it came off the top, do I want to put some more of it on top?
Absolutely. So like I had a little pocket of flour here, and so I'm just going to dip it until I get full coverage.
Yours congealed a lot better than mine, not surprisingly. Okay.
All right, and then right to the oil. So just be careful dropping it in. We'll shake off a little bit of that excess.
Shit, it didn't stick. It didn't stick too well.
All right. If it's a little thick, you could always add a little bit more beer.
Okay, maybe I didn't put enough beer.
Or water if it's already gone. No.
Okay. Let's see what the hell. Hey guys, the camera crew would just say, sample his. Just drop it in?
Yep, drop it in. And I like to do a little bit of a wave when I put it in. I'm going to, because I have this set up, I'm going to put a cover on it. I don't recommend putting a tight fitting lid because it'll trap steam and drip into the oil. However, I need this to recover
I'm just having doubts right now that mine's going to work. I don't think it's going to congeal. I'm just having that sense. What do you think?
Looks beautiful.
You think so?
Oh, yeah. There it is.
There it is.
Yep.
Ooh, it is kind of good. Ooh.
It looks great.
All right. Okay, we do the second one now?
Yep.
All right. Maybe I didn't have enough beer in there. Maybe it was too thick. Okay. So what's your favorite food movie? If you had to recommend, like, a foodie movie that you love, what would it be?
I like Chef. I like Jon Favreau.
Isn't he like a maniac in that movie?
He's I don't think a maniac. I mean, he's a driven chef. I mean, it's a fine line sometimes.
Okay, I don't think I've seen that movie, Chef. And is It seems like whenever I see like a chef movie on television, they're kind of like, do you have to run? Like, do you have to be a little bit of a maniac in there or not?
I think it comes with the territory more so than anything else.
Where's my stuff? Where's the sous chef? It's not ready. This is not right. Did they do a little bit of that?
Yeah, it's stressful. I think it's a stressful business to be in.
Is it a lot of hollering in the kitchen?
Not anymore. Maybe a while ago there was a little bit more than there is today. I think we're a little bit more tame, especially at Notre Dame.
Okay, that's good. I grew up in an Italian family, and
then
every argument is judged by decibel level. And you go right after the other person's juggler, no matter what you're talking about. And that's how it works. Doesn't play as well in an academic community.
So I'm not at a hot enough
Did you put your second one in?
Not yet. I am not at a hot enough oil temp on mine. So, but yours is looking beautiful. If we want to show Lou's here, actually, I think you got me beat today.
Wow.
Yeah.
You guys want to take a peek at mine?
It's beautiful.
Look at that.
Big golden brown piece. If you want to drop the other piece in the other basket.
And the other one, okay. I'm excited. I want you to know that I'm not like those game fishermen, that throw the fish back. Anything I cook is going to be eaten right after. Yeah. Sure. All right, we got 2 in there. All right, so what would you say are the student favorites? You make all this food for our student body, and you've been here for 19 years. So first question is, how has student appetites changed over those 19 years?
Yeah, so when I first started, it was a lot of meatloaf and mashed potatoes and things like that. And there's still a demand for that. However, we have seen a trend more nutritional food, more world food, definitely. Vegan food is key. We got to have every meal with well-represented vegan options. And then there's your mainstays, like North Dining Hall and now South Dining Hall. You can't get away with Southwest salads. Thursdays, it's a staple. Every Thursday, we're serving around 1,800 salads or so.
So you got about 2,200 students coming in, and you're serving about 1,800 Southwest salads?
Every Thursday.
Every Thursday.
Whole semester.
Wow. So that is that like the most popular item, would you say?
I would say the single most menu item, like the one item that is the highest consumption rate, absolutely.
Okay.
Yep. Absolutely.
What else? What is also up there?
I would say number 2 is chicken strips and macaroni and cheese. Yeah. So it's
not all healthy.
It's not all healthy. The fryers definitely get a workout at times. Even the Southwest salad, it does have some chicken on it that's crispy. So not necessarily the healthiest salad, but I think it's comforting. I think it's something that's truly Notre Dame. It's been around now for 12 years, I believe.
Yeah.
And it hasn't come off the menu. So if that doesn't say it right there.
How about when stress levels are up, like midterms and finals? Do you see students eating more junk food, or how do they respond?
Yeah, definitely more junk food. Desserts go way up. Coffee consumption during finals is through the roof. So of course. And then we also see, like those comfort foods, meatloaf, mashed potatoes, things like that. We do see go a lot higher during those. They're just looking for something taste of home. Yeah. And then our international students are always looking for that as well. So
interesting. What would you say do you look at stuff and say, hey, this just isn't going? Like you prepare a dish or something like that and say, they're just not eating this as much. Are we always looking to revitalize the menus and cut stuff?
Yeah, we do look at what sells and doesn't sell. We're like the Titanic though. We can't just take something off the menu just all the time. There's some things we have to do with vendors. Our purchasing is huge. I mean, we're buying skids and thousands of pounds of things. However, we do solicit feedback from students all the time and want to make sure that we're serving them food they want to eat. At the end of the day, that's really what our goal is. So if you want to lift up your first fillet, it's definitely done.
Which was my first? Yeah, this is the
right one. Yeah. You can just rest it right there. And Lou, that looks beautiful. That looks beautiful. Mine's getting there too, though. So,
okay, good.
So I'm not out of the running yet.
We had a terrible thing when chicken patties were like the hit when I was a student here. Chicken patty days were like a really big day. This is when there were far fewer options in the dining halls, early 1980s. We also had this thing called Seafood Newburgh. You heard of that?
Absolutely.
And the students used to call it Seafood Nuremberg.
Yeah.
And, it was a little bit, there was a mystery what was in the in the going around the seafood and that, but it was still tasty.
Yeah, it was. It's usually lobster, but I guarantee you it wasn't lobster.
It did not taste.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then next thing we can do, if you want to take your fish, and you should have a this tray right here. And if you
Okay.
wanna,
Yeah, right here.
Yep. If you want to put your fish on there and let it rest out of that basket there.
Okay, just tip it in. You think?
Yep. Tip it right on in there. Look at the size of that. That's gorgeous.
It's a damn
Crispy
good-looking
and-
piece of fish.
And that's what you're looking for. So you're looking for that really nice golden brown color, that crispy exterior. This batter, because of the cornstarch, it's really light. So it's not going to be doughy and heavy. It's going to really just, you're going to taste the fish, which is the most important part.
We've had 5 children. I may be just as proud of this fish that just came out.
It looks great.
It's one of their births. I mean, this is like I'm,
Yeah, you should
feeling
be.
good about it.
It looks
Yeah.
wonderful. Yep. And then next thing we're going to do is just
kids.
finish off our French fries.
Okay.
And so if you want to take your French fries and put them back into that fryer basket, and while that other piece is cooking, and I'm going to actually do the same on mine. So my oil's hot enough. This fish, I could tell, just is almost done. So I'm going to add my fries and just do it simultaneously.
So just put it back in my fries.
Just drop them down.
So what was the reason of taking the fries out and then putting them back in? Just because you needed space for the fish?
So that is a culinary technique called hot oil blanching. So what we did is we set the outside starches on the potatoes. So then let it rest. And then now this hotter fry will allow it to get crispy on the outside and mashed potato on the inside. If we went straight away into super hot oil, we would have a very golden brown exterior and like really undercooked to, not very mashed potato like on the inside. So this was my first job in a restaurant. It was a pot washer, and then I worked my way up to a pot washer / guy that makes the French fries. So I've cut thousands and thousands of pounds of French fries in my life. So
I love it. So when I get home,
me.
when I'm late from work tonight, I said, "I'm sorry, honey, I was hot oil blanching."
Yeah, exactly.
Like this, you'll understand that there was a pause involved. Okay, good.
Right.
Like, how long? I have a question. How long does it have to blanch the rest for between the?
So we cut our potatoes relatively thick. So that took about 5 minutes to blanch, and then to rest. Really you could fry that as soon as your oil gets back up to temperature. However, you could also refrigerate the potatoes or even freeze them and cook them later at a later time. So once they're hot oil blanched, they're not going to turn brown on you. You don't have to soak them in water. And then, like I said, you could freeze them in Ziploc baggies and be ready to just fry them at a hotter oil temperature.
I think my second one's
Golden
done.
brown and beautiful. Yep.
Just take it out like this, or just put it right in
You could let it sit there for a second.
for a little bit.
Let
Let the oil. Okay, got it. Okay. So I have a meeting right after this with Dean Martin Kremers, and I'm really liking the spotted cow here. I may not be at my very best for that next meeting.
So I think I have one done here. So I'm gonna pull that out. You've
Looking good.
Yep. I'm just gonna put this back here. So at home, I do recommend using a really nice hot burner or cast iron pan for this. You really want to make sure we had this temperature going pretty consistently. So, but
Do you
oil
watch
tends
these
temperature
cooking
drops.
shows on television? You watch like Iron Chef?
I love Iron Chef and I love Chopped. So I'm not into like the ones that are kind of like guys' grocery games and all that stuff. I'm not really into those things. I like to see chefs competing at a high level, which Iron Chef definitely is.
Yeah.
Chopped, you have working chefs, going for it with random ingredients. So I do enjoy that.
Have you ever gone on one of those shows or competed in something like that?
I have not on the Food Network. However, we have one coming up June 6th in Gordon Food Services. All our campus dining chefs are actually going to do an Iron Chef type competition.
Oh, where will that be done?
Up in Grand Rapids at Gordon's Test Kitchen.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, right now we got Ann as a judge, somebody from the Gordon family as a judge, and looking for one more.
So what do you get if you win?
So we're just going to get some really big gaudy trophy that we're going to put in the chef's office to tell everyone else I'm better than you. But,
I love it. I love
friendly
it. That's
competition.
Good. That's good. That's great.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
All right. So while those fries are cooking, how do your fries look? Golden brown and delicious? Almost there?
I think they're almost there.
Okay.
What do I know?
So really the color is going to tell you on the fries. When they are golden brown, they are done. Mine's got a way to go here.
So how unhealthy is this meal?
Pretty unhealthy.
Is it really?
Yeah, I mean,
Because the fish part is the good part,
yeah,
right?
it's not something that you'd eat every day, but it's definitely an indulgent meal that, you know, I mean, it's got a lot of fat into it.
Yeah.
But the fish is healthy.
Yeah.
Fries, you know, delicious, but not
So where does the
nutrition.
most of the fat come from? The flour? Or no?
From the fryer grease, just
From the
absorbing
fryer
into the
grease.
batter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Fantastic. So when you get home at night, don't you just like after a day at work just say, I don't want to cook anymore? Or do you still, your love to kind of prepare a meal for the family, is it still there?
Yeah, I get asked that a lot, especially like holidays. My grandma's always asking me like, "Oh, honey, don't bring a dish. You know, we'll
Yeah.
get it." I love to cook, so
Yeah.
like I want to bring a dish. Yeah.
Yeah.
I get home from work after a long day, and that's, you know, that's something that I look forward to, is to cook a nice meal for my
Yeah.
family. Absolutely.
What do you think? Should I pull my fries
Yeah.
out? You think?
They look
Looks
good.
good?
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Now, the next thing we're going to do for you, Lou, you're a little bit ahead of me, is grab the stainless bowl here. I think you got one underneath your station.
Is this one right here?
Oh, yep.
Okay.
And what you want to do is toss your fries right into that bowl.
Are they drained enough, you think?
Yeah. You want a little bit of oil still on them, so because we're going to put salt on them. And you hear that sound, that means they're crispy.
Okay,
The
good.
clank of the bowl. And let's see your toss action. So when you toss them, you want to just do a flip of the wrist like this with a little bit of salt. I wish I could.
Okay. Salt on
See if
them
I
right
got
now.
A couple of fries here. So I'm going to do that with you so we can pull a couple of fries. Mine aren't quite as golden brown as I want, but just so you get the technique.
This smells like this 4th of July, like, you know, place where they're cooking the fries on the side.
So just like that, give it a little toss. Even coated the fries. And I like a little black pepper on my fries.
Yeah. So what do you do with the oil? If you're at home, what do you do with the oil once it's done?
Yeah, so oil has gotten very expensive, so that's it's a concern. What I like to do is take this oil, let it cool to a manageable, not super cold, but you definitely don't want to risk burning yourself.
Yeah.
And I like to just set up like a strainer with a coffee filter and run the oil through the coffee filter, and that'll allow you to reuse the oil however you want to do it when you're cooking food.
So you run it through a coffee filter and then reuse it.
Yes.
How many times can you reuse oil?
I mean, you could use it quite a bit, especially this. I mean, we've had that oil up for maybe half an hour. I mean, you could use this to, you know, saute vegetables at home or however you'd use the oil. I wouldn't make like a vinaigrette with it because it will have a slightly fishy flavor maybe, but definitely cook with it.
Interesting. So then how do you dispose of it? Like when here in where does oil go?
So we have grease traps here at the university.
Okay.
Don't pour it down your drain.
Yeah.
You know, you could take it and you could put it back in the jug that it came from. Most people like deep frying it. I don't recommend like throwing it away or discarding it. Just use it till it's gone.
Yeah.
If it's completely shot, if you deep fry a lot at home, you could probably recycle that somehow.
Yeah. Interesting.
All right. So then this is a little secret ingredient here. So this is the foodie's hack here. Is this brown powder right here is a malt vinegar powder. So it's keen to put malt vinegar like out of a jar on your fish. So we have powdered malt vinegar. So we're going to sprinkle that on the fish pretty liberally here.
Come on, baby. Coming out easily. Oops.
Definitely. Oh, it's still beautiful. There.
It's still a little piece came off.
Flip that the other way. No one will ever know. Yeah.
Okay. There we go. I'll piece it back together. You know.
And then we'll just hit it with that malt vinegar powder. Add a whole nother layer. A little bit of sharpness and acidity to it.
Sprinkle both sides?
Sure. Yep.
Malt vinegar.
Malt vinegar powder. And then traditionally, fish and chips was served in newspaper. So we do have a little bit of newspaper here today. We're going to serve it.
Why is it? Is that just to kind of absorb more of the?
I think it was during the war, paper was hard to get. It was rationed. So that they took old newspaper print and wrapped the fish and chips in that.
So we always think that fish and chips is a dish that comes out of England, but that's not actually the historically accurate, right? Where does it come from?
Portugal. I forgot what year, but it was in Portugal. There was Jewish immigrants as well as Christian immigrants, and there was some unpleasantness that caused the Jewish immigrants to flee and ended up in Ireland, where they, because they couldn't cook on Sunday, they actually cooked fish and coated it in matzah and things like that on Friday, so that on Saturday they could eat their fish. That quickly caught on in places in Great Britain, and then made its way all the way to Ireland, where it became this like thing that just is almost the national dish of Great Britain.
Exactly.
One would argue that it could be tikka masala chicken or fish and chips. So
or fish and chips,
it's a hot
fantastic.
debate, yeah.
All right, can I try a fry now?
Absolutely.
Greg, we have a question from Lou's mom in Buffalo.
Nice.
She wants to know why Lou couldn't pull that piece of fish out of the fryer.
So when you drop the fish in the fryer, and I didn't mention this, give it a shake so that the batter will set on the bottom of it. What I think happened was the batter kind of cooked into the grates of the fish. I didn't have that problem with my pot, so unless you're using this setup, that shouldn't really be an issue. It should just start to float.
Thanks so much,
Great
Mom.
question.
Great question, Mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just want to say, my mom was very, very Italian, has never cooked fish and chips in her life. So we'll see if she can kind of, pick up from my example here.
All right. All right, then the final step is just to present the fish and chips. Now at home, obviously, you can just throw it on a plate. We like the newspaper, so we have a little display fryer basket here. And I think my rest of my fries finally crossed the finish line.
So just pick it up with your hand and put it in there? Or how do
Yeah,
you do
if you're going to eat it, then as long as it's not too hot for you.
I mean, come on, guys. Look at that.
Yeah, gorgeous.
I'm actually feeling some pride here. And tartar sauce is a basic staple for this, right?
Yeah, basic staple. Some countries eat like a remoulade sauce, which would be a little bit more pickles and capers and things like that into it, a little bit of spice. But yeah, tartar sauce is king. So I do recommend making your own tartar sauce. We didn't do that today, but that would be mayonnaise, a good relish, sweet pickle if you like it a little bit sweeter, dill relish if you don't, little bit of Tabasco sauce, lemon juice, and it's just really easy and simple.
So when you're serving here, you guys, like to our students, do you make your own
Yes, we do
tartar
make our own
sauce?
tartar sauce.
Okay.
It's something so simple to make,
Yeah.
and there's so many preservatives in
the
commercially
purchase
bought
stuff.
tartar sauce.
Yeah.
It almost looks gray, so it would definitely.
Yeah.
It's really easy. The key is good mayonnaise.
Yeah, it is.
for
Okay.
us. So I like a Hellman's or a Duke's.
Hellman's or Duke's? I know Hellman's is big time.
Oh yeah,
Duke's, I never heard of Duke's.
yeah Duke's is more from the south of the United States.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, it's a little more acidic, a little bit aggressive, but I really like that flavor, especially for fish and chips. Yeah.
Fantastic.
So yeah, I'm gonna plate mine up here. We'll stand those French fries right up.
Where should we present the French fries? Put them in this here?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. I'm telling you guys, this is pretty darn good. Everybody in the crew here that's been doing an incredible job.
Absolutely.
Should we taste some of this stuff or what?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go for it.
We got the tartar sauce.
Yeah.
So
some people put ketchup on it. That's kind of like a Chicago hot dog. It's a sin, but if you like it, go for it. Especially the fries.
Can't believe that I made this. I
Pretty
really
simple.
can't.
It's a technique. A lot of people, when they make French fries, don't understand that technique of hot oil blanching, which is key. In fact, In-N-Out Burger gets a lot of flack for their French fries, and they actually use the same potato, but they don't hot oil blanch. So it's a hot debate on their French fries.
Really? So do all of like the Burger Kings and McDonald's, do they hot oil blanch?
So some at their facilities that mass produce them, they will.
Yeah.
So Burger King and McDonald's most likely will have a frozen product that was hot oil blanched at a facility.
Yeah.
A good example would be Five Guys, who, if you've ever walked in the back, they actually have a really cool fryer set up for hot oil blanching. If now that you know this, you'll pay attention if you ever go in there. But
Wow,
it's like a customized setup that they use.
I have to say, I love the fries at
Yeah.
Five Guys. They're really, really good. All right, so I want to try a little bit of this fish.
All right.
Do we have like a fork or anything? I could just break it off, perhaps.
Yeah. Best thing to do is eat fish and chips with your hands, right?
It is, yeah, exactly. Okay, guys.
Still crispy.
That is delicious, if I do say so myself. Really, really good.
It's a spotted cow. It's a secret.
The spotted cow is exactly right.
Yep.
Have you noticed my spotted cow is all gone here? That was really great job, Greg. Really, really
Thank
good.
you.
So this will be served probably the Friday that our students get back of Lent. They'll probably have this, or Good Friday. I mean, that might be. They're going to be eating fish and chips. That'll be one of the menu items
Absolutely.
for them. Okay.
North and South dining halls.
Fantastic. That's great. Well, I want to thank you, Greg,
Thanks for having me.
not only for being here today and sharing this delicious recipe with us, but more importantly for what you do for our students each and every day. And doing that for 19 years, feeding our students and accommodating all of their different their needs, whether it be for different dietary issues, as well as what they like to eat, and trying to keep people relaxed and healthy and happy, and all that stuff is really a tremendous service that you render to all of the parents that are looking out there. I know that they extend their thanks as well
for me.
Yeah. So I'm going to guess that there's a number of Notre Dame families that are going to be serving up this recipe for St. Patrick's Day, and just a couple of days from now. I want to thank each and every one of you in our audience for joining us today or watching this rebroadcast. Please know that we'll be posting a replay of the show on our ND Loyal YouTube channel, or at the very site that the invitation came out to you from. Please plan on joining us again next Wednesday, March 22nd at noon Eastern Time, for a live chat with the head coach of our second-ranked Notre Dame men's lacrosse team. I think this is the year they're going to win the national championship. My good friend, Kevin Corrigan, who also, I don't know if you know this about him, but he is a terrific Italian chef.
Nice.
He's a great griller, so you got to get to meet him.
All right.
I think you should pull him in to do some cooking on the side once the season's over.
All
He's
right.
got time. So
it.
thank you. God bless. Happy Easter to all of you, and go Irish.